please.
Christensen. Erickson. Here. Ernst.
Here.
Gulen. Hobbs.
Here.
Hutchinson.
Here.
DeValtis.
Here.
Lord.
Lord, here.
We then move on to item 3 of the agenda, citizen statements. Are there any citizen?
We have no citizen statements.
Okay. For those of you out there in YouTube land watching us right now, we're clearly back in person, so please come down maybe every Wednesday or every second Wednesday of the month at maybe this time to voice your issues. We will more on the meeting time later, but we'll move on then to item 4, approval of the minutes from our February 9th, 2022 meeting. Do I have a move to?
I wanted to clarify something that I said on page 3. At second paragraph from the bottom. And it makes it sound like I'm saying there's two times per month people with foreign accents. Most of the time that I'm approached is by local investors, but I'm starting to notice more out-of-state and some out-of-country investors, but it's not the majority. And I did want to say about the, I did have qualms about taking Afghan people in my apartment because you can't vet them. But I also wanted to add is that pretty much all of the people from Afghanistan that came to the Oshkosh Chaplain area have now been settled into homes. There was 180, and the last time I checked, there was 9 that still weren't. So that's all I wanted to add.
Okay, noted.
Yeah, I don't think it says anywhere in here that you suggest that it's the majority of
Right, yeah, I think,
people. I don't think any, and the specific data that you mentioned doesn't change the nature of the minutes, or of the paragraph, I don't think. Do you just want that added? Is that what you're saying, or?
well, I mean, at the time when you said it, though,
What's that?
at the time when you said it, was the information correct during our
Well,
meeting?
I don't think I put it that way. I just said that there would seem to be, more people from out of state and even some foreign people that were interested. I don't think I said it that way. Maybe I was misunderstood.
Okay,
And then on the other part is I did have qualms about renting because you can't vet these folks and they don't even have a severe language problem. But I did work with World Relief and pretty much all of those folks have now been settled. So they're not going to be pressuring any more demand in our area.
okay.
So you do have qualms?
I'm sorry?
So you do have qualms?
No,
I don't
I do not.
understand. Okay.
I did have qualms at the time because.
At the time, at the time
you
you said this, did you have qualms?
I don't know that I said that, but I meant that I'd like to emphasize that I did because you can't vet these folks. They didn't have, a language barrier. You can't do your background checks, that type of thing. So I did have some qualms. Plus also that with the stress on we have so few affordable units that we're bringing in people, but when we're ready, have a hard time housing people that live here already.
Are you just clarifying your statement now, or are you saying that is what you said then?
I believe what I said. I did have qualms about it, but, because I did have that.
Okay, we can go back and listen to the tape.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I might have just been misunderstood.
We still need to vote to approve the minutes or not. So
Okay.
we can, all of that should happen after we call that vote, all
Okay.
of that discussion when I say, when we generally open it up for discussion. So do I have a move to approve as written?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Is where we'll fast forward to, or bring that stuff up here. I still don't understand what you want changed about the document
Well,
here, Mr. Lloyd.
I was saying that I don't believe I said that there were 2 times from people with foreign accent. I was saying that you get offers all the time, people trying to buy our properties, but I was starting to notice more out-of-state and even some foreign investors that were contacting me. And then on the bottom, I did have qualms about opening up. I had a unit open up in February, and World Relief contacted me, but there's no way of vetting these folks. And but that's kind of a moot point now because most of all of the Afghan people that came to the Oshkosh, Appleton area are now housed, so.
Silence your phones at meetings, everyone. If it's something urgent, then like you can take it out in the hall.
It's on the record, that's all I need.
The phone ring? I said, please silence your phone in meetings.
Sure.
There we This is
go.
not the first time, and the distraction is unnecessary. So I guess I don't know what to do in terms of like addressing Mr. Lloyd's concern in terms of a vote.
If you're comfortable voting for the minutes, we will go back and look at the tape and
Okay.
make sure to clarify if there's anything we need to clarify in the minutes.
Okay.
If you're comfortable
It's
with
fine.
staff
I've just-
doing that. Okay,
It's not that big a deal, I just wanted to
Okay.
bring it up, that's all.
absolutely.
Okay, so we will vote and staff will review the minutes for accuracy, and then we
All
can,
right,
I
thank
guess,
you.
amend at the next
I
meeting.
just might have not made myself clear, so.
All right, with that, any other discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes as written, with the intent of further review, say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. Move on then to item 5 of the agenda, the 2/22/22 council appointment.
Yeah, I just wanted to update the advisory board that Mayor Palmieri did appoint TJ Hobbs to the permanent full-time seat that was vacant on our board. So we do have an alternate, a vacant spot in one of our alternate spots. So if you know anybody, please encourage them, but just wanted that to be noted.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Item 6 of the agenda then, meeting format. So we have 3 sort of sub-items to discuss here. I think it's probably best if we explain or discuss them one at a time before moving on to the next business. So the first item is the alternate member voting procedure. So if I recall from the last meeting, we were unsure exactly what the roles of the alternates are and what exactly their power, I think, in voting is. So is that, do we know if that's clarified anywhere in like the board materials, like the
Yeah.
charter or whatever?
Right, so not so much with the procedure to figure out which alternate can vote. If there's, somebody with a permanent seat that is not at the meeting, that's up to each, board and commission. But I believe it was our city attorney, Praska, he went through and did say, if you are the alternate and there's the full board is there, or it's not your turn to be, the voting alternate, you can't be, discussing these items and everything. So it would be more so just to figure out a procedure. So if we do have everybody here, and let's say that vacant alternate position is appointed, just so there is something in place that, you don't have to think about it. You say, okay, it's your turn or whatever it may be.
Okay, so the idea, like the end goal would be to have one alternate member like present and participating
If needed,
at meeting,
correct.
at meeting, if
Yep.
needed.
Yeah, and some just take turns. They go back and forth each meeting, and they say, or if they're needed, you say, okay, alternate number 1, you're up, and then the next meeting, if they're needed, you're alternate number 2, you're up. If there's a meeting or it skips that no alternates are needed, okay, alternate 2, you're up with this one. So there are some, boards and commissions, and that's how they account for that.
And we would let the alternates know after we all sort of RSVP through Ms.
Yeah, so,
Meyer,
and
right?
then that was the important thing, if you aren't going to be here, to let us know as soon as possible, even the day of, if you're not able to make it, so we can try to get an alternate here if they are able to vote.
Okay, I think then it seems to me to make the most sense to do a back and forth approach between, 2 alternates when we have them, or the one alternate being on standby until a second is appointed, and letting the particular alternate know for each particular meeting based on the attendance of the regular members, if they will be needed or not. and then their obligation, will switch from month to month, so the alternate will be on like every other month, basically.
Yeah, and we can note that like on the agenda and everything too, just so you're aware.
Yep. Yeah, go ahead, Todd.
So I guess I have a hard time remembering how many members are on the board and how many, is it 5 board members and 2 alternates? Or-
We consist of 7 members and 2 alternates.
So 9 total?
Correct.
Would it be possible to, I don't know, on the agenda or on the meeting minutes, list who the 7 board members are and then who the 2 alternates are? And we could have alternate 1, alternate 2, and then alternate 1 would do every odd number month, and alternate 2 would do every even numbered month for a
Yep.
meeting?
Yeah,
Sure.
we could do that too. I was just looking, we do have on our boards and commissions website, Mr. Lord is alternate, and then there's the alternate 2 is the vacant seat.
Okay.
So that's kind of how we have it labeled on the website.
And as long, I guess as long as there's a vacant, then it's always going to be
It's,
Don?
yeah,
Don?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Any other discussion? Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to second that idea. I think it was amazing, and I think it's only going to help us here know, and I speak from experience, as we all know, some of us know. I didn't even know I was an alternate the last couple of months, and it would have been clear to me on the first meeting if it was listed here. So I think from speaking from experience, folks who are new to this board, I'm sure they'll find value in that, as well as folks who just, would like to see that right when they get here.
Any other discussions or ideas for that part of our format?
And so just a question to clarify. So the alternate will be called if they're if they're needed at the meeting, or can they just come?
They can absolutely come.
Okay.
But what Mr. Praska was saying is they can't be an active participant where they're saying all these things, giving their opinions and then not voting.
Okay, so they're
that's kind of the
relatively
caveat.
silent. They're relatively
Yeah,
silent.
When not
more to observe.
Okay,
And that's, I'm sorry, I have a hard time with all these rules, and that's when we have to have, that's if we have 7 people. So a quorum is 4 people, right? So if we only have 4 people, that's the quorum, that's enough. Should Don be voting then, or?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
until you get to 7?
If
Okay.
there was 7 people.
okay.
If there was 7 people up here, and then Don and then the other alternate were here, they wouldn't be able to. But if there's 6, then Don or whoever turn it is, they would be up there.
Yeah, I thought, it was my understanding when we first appointed alternates that they would be needed for instances where quorum was not met.
Typically, like for Plan Commission, they just come just to round out the whole board.
Okay.
Just, yeah.
Okay. So, to summarize, we'll post we'll post the regular board members and the alternates on meeting materials. Once we have 2 alternates appointed, we'll assign like a 1 and a 2, and they will take odd and even number months. That alternate or those alternates can come and attend meetings, but not vote
Correct.
and not speak.
Typically, like Mr. Praska said, they shouldn't be engaging in the conversation, the discussion. So, something here or there, but like giving their strong opinion on things, they're not a voting member.
So I understand then it's crucial that we know before the meeting starts if we're
That's-
voting or
yep.
not.
Yes.
Another thing that I didn't know the last few meetings. So that is something that maybe we can put in the beginning as to if there's going to be a vote, and then the alternates know if they can talk or not.
Yep, and that's why it's important to let us know if you're coming or not, so we can let those alternates know as soon as
Perfect.
possible.
Can we have our social media people put out a post like recruiting an alternate? Or asking for if people are interested, and we can kind of add this information there then too.
Okay.
Because then it's available to the public as well. All right. Do we need to vote on that item?
No, this is just
Just
kind of
procedural?
us discuss, yeah.
Okay.
If everybody's in agreement, yep.
Is anyone in disagreement with that approach?
I agree, but I have another question.
Okay.
So are we tracking, because of the history of this board, are we tracking who's not present for how many times?
Yes, we have
Because-
we track attendance.
Okay, so is there a way to track, like, are you gonna let us know when somebody's no call, no show 3 times, then we have to go forward and find somebody else?
It's not your job to find somebody else, it's the mayor's job.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct, so you guys have to find somebody else.
Yes.
But you will let us know when it's time for you to find somebody else.
we can let you know when terms are coming up, expiring, and we'll reach out to you and ask you if you still want to be considered, if you want to submit an application for another term on the board.
Okay, so that wasn't the question. The question was, there had been people that had been assigned to this board, and they came to one meeting and never showed up again.
Right.
And so for the longest time, I didn't know who was on the board, who wasn't on the board, and what was our process. If somebody wasn't showing up, what was our process to get somebody else on the board?
That is up to the discretion of the mayor. So we sometimes share that information with the mayor or in the city manager's office to let them know that there might be a member that might be having attendance issues. So it's not up to this board to find new members.
No, I know that.
Okay.
I'm aware of that. It's just that we had a discussion about this a few meetings ago. If people don't remember, I remember. Because I had some concerns about that, people not.
Yeah, there isn't like a
Showing up.
written rule saying that if you miss 2, you're out. You know, it varies. So, like I said, it's at the discretion of the mayor.
Okay, so as a board, we will never know for sure who's on our board and who's not on our
Oh,
board.
no,
or-
you know, I mean, it's on the city's website. It says who's on it.
Yes,
And I think when,
yes.
like, a new member gets appointed, there's an introduction or like a,
Okay,
And it's in the minutes who's like present, and I mean, the emails are sent to everybody.
And going forward,
board.
and going forward, you can put this on the agenda, so who all is a member and who's all.
Yeah, I mean,
who's
that will be on there,
alternate
so
one.
you'll see, and then like, he said in the minutes, that's in there too, so,
okay, thank you.
yeah.
I think that satisfies my curiosity. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion on this item? The new way makes sense to me, so I'm fine with moving forward as we've discussed. Item 2 seems like a bit of a non-starter now.
I just
but-
wanted to, let everybody know we are meeting in person from here on out. And just so you are aware, it's only meeting in person. We do not allow a hybrid, like there could be a member that says, oh, can I WebEx in? We don't allow that. You have to be here.
Okay. And then that will dovetail into the third item, frequency. So we currently are scheduled to meet every 2 months on the second Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. I would suggest that given the all of this information we now have in the housing study and we don't want to squander the opportunity to do some good in this community. So I would recommend that we move to monthly meetings like we had when we started. So the second Wednesday of every month instead of every 2 months.
So just a few things with that. If you're comfortable in this meeting room, it would be in here just because we have landmarks in one, and
Yep.
then typically we have a meeting next door here. And then the other thing is we would have to amend our ordinance because right now it is in there for every 2 months.
Right.
So the only thought I wanted to have and discuss is, we have had a few quorum issues in the past. So, I mean, it's a lot of work for staff to put together the packets and get everything ready. And as you heard with Mr. Praska, if we don't have a quorum, we can't meet. We can't even give a presentation, like, we're done. So I just want to ensure that folks, now that we're in person too, that everybody is committed to coming. And for the time being, I know that, we're going to be discussing the housing study today, but moving ahead, that's going to be kind of up and down as far as, it would be me coming back probably to you guys, talking what the council's looking at and everything. So I don't know if I'd have it something monthly for you for the housing study. And then just as an update for the rental registry program, now that COVID hopefully is kind of easing, we are going to start, sending out mailers. We haven't stopped collecting data as far as like rental properties, but we'll do the inspection mailers. And just for some of the new members on here, unfortunately, with just some of the restrictions that the state has, typically if we send out 100 letters, we maybe get 5 people saying that they would allow us to inspect their property. So we're not getting that, we're not having the impact that we had hoped to, I think, when this group was formed originally. So those are just some items I want to discuss, or at least have, out for consideration if you are looking to make the move monthly. The only thing I would offer is before we go forward and actually amend the ordinance, we can continue to have some of these special meetings in the, in the near future, and maybe it kind of will give you an idea, does it make sense? Kind of like a trial run maybe, does it make sense to do this? Because I'd hate for us to meet, just to meet, or all of a sudden just be canceling all the time.
Okay. Any thoughts? I kind of like the just call special meetings idea. It seems to allow for the best of both worlds, and what do y'all think?
Yeah, I like that idea. See how it goes.
Okay.
I would like to say that it's sort of a decision that's hard to make right now, because we can talk, when we talk about this housing study, my perception is that this board has everything to do with this housing study, and that we could come up with policy, programs, all kinds of ideas to contribute to some of the things that this housing study's addressed. So in my mind, we've had plenty of work to do. I see the work. I don't know if anybody else sees the work, but I see the work. And I think this board is set up to do that type of work. So I would suggest that we meet monthly. And to be honest, I've been on the board for over 4 years, and I've been to every meeting, and there's always been a quorum. As far as I know, I've never been called off of a meeting. So I don't know if that's a real issue. I mean, it might have been, and I just can't remember, but, so for now, I think it's okay if we, say, okay, let's do special meetings, say where we go. But in my mind, we've got work to do. Okay, so that's just my opinion.
I agree. I think you're totally right. I am just sympathetic to like the time of staff and their needs and their ability to put all this stuff together. And I think, the need to meet is kind of based on like the study right now. So if we can parse some of that out, like in this meeting and the next meeting, the regularly scheduled meeting in April, that might give us sort of a better long-term vision of what we need, right? What the kind of time we need to put in and stuff like that. And then, of course, we can just call a May meeting if need be. So please go ahead.
I don't think the housing crisis is going to be solved in the next year personally, but I'm happy to meet in the middle, like you said. Whatever is the best for everybody, but also gives us monthly meetings, because you will see that we will need those meetings, and we will make that clear in those meetings.
So, I think before the long haul work of changing the ordinance and stuff like that, and having to, because council has to do that, we can't do it ourselves. So, it seems easiest for all parties if we take Ms. Nyforth's suggestion of sticking to the bi-monthly for now with, we will be calling special meetings, like probably in May, probably in July, depending on the, again, how the discussion of the housing study goes, and how far we are in that respect when that time arrives, I guess. Does that make sense to everyone? Discussion? All right. Does this time still work? Okay. We will keep, we'll keep things as is then. I think the clarifying the alternate procedure and listing people and all the things we discussed will be beneficial to keeping ourselves organized. I am looking forward to meeting in person again too. Any other discussion, questions? All right. That brings us to item 7. We will adjourn this special meeting before moving on to our workshop discussion of the housing study and the public information campaign. So do I have a move to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstaining? All right. Thank you. We are adjourned.